Welcome to the Start With Who podcast, where we explore how understanding who you are shapes the way you lead, work, and live. I'm Joe Shannon with Newton Institute, and I'll be joined by Rick Newton as we bring reflective conversations, real-world stories, and practical insights to help you start with who in every area of life. Our goal is to help you discover your unique design and elevate your life, leadership, and legacy. It's great to have you with us. Let's get started with today's episode. Hey Rick, as we talked about last episode, today we're going to talk more about the benefits of the compass at the organizational level. Same compass, same 4 questions, but now we shift from me to we. How do you want to start us off today?
Yeah, hi Joe. It's good to be with you again. I'm excited about this podcast because so much of what we do at the Newton Institute is helping leaders bring this organizational framework to the companies that they lead. And the moon metaphor we talked about last episode applies just as powerfully here. If your organization is off by even 1 degree from who you really are, if your strategy, your brand, your culture aren't aligned with your DNA, purpose, values, and vision, you're going to find yourself off target, losing money, momentum, and market share. Maybe not all at once, but over time. And the organizational compass keeps your team aimed at the right target. And when it's clearly defined, it informs, it empowers, and it guides every critical area of your organization.
Yeah. So before we go any deeper, walk us through where the organizational compass actually shows up in an organization.
Yeah, so just like we did with the personal compass, let's talk through 8 major areas where a well-defined organizational compass has major impact. I'll talk through each of those briefly. And first, this is one that was also on the personal compass, is leadership effectiveness. But instead of just talking about yourself at the individual level, the compass at the organizational level aligns your leadership team, ensuring that everyone is going in the same direction, operating by the same values, and fulfilling the same purpose. Second would be business strategy. The compass provides critical inputs into how your organization defines its strategic future and the path to get there. Third would be corporate branding and marketing. The compass inspires and elevates how your organization shows up in the marketplace. I think we'll talk about that a little bit more. Fourth is customer relationships. A well-defined organizational compass strengthens customer relationships by ensuring that every interaction with them is authentic to who you are as an organization. Culture would be fifth. Your culture is a natural expression of your DNA, your purpose, your values, and your vision. And that's why we always say that the compass is really the foundation for your organizational culture. Sixth would be product or service development. The compass helps prioritize what products and services that you develop, making sure that they're aligned, again, with your DNA, purpose, and vision. Employee engagement would be seventh. When employees see how their work connects to a clear and compelling sense of who you are as an organization, why you exist, how you expect people to behave, and where you're headed as an organization, then employee engagement goes up dramatically because people aren't left questioning things or filling in the blanks themselves. And finally, an area that's on top of mind for everybody is AI integration. And in the agentic era of AI, the compass becomes what we call the human context layer that ensures AI adoption preserves and amplifies what makes your organization unique. And again, we'll go into that in a little bit later.
Yeah. So like before, when we talked about the personal compass, maybe we can see how all of these areas benefit, but let's just dig into a couple. And I would say business strategy, corporate branding, and what you just said, AI adoption, sound like some hot topics. These are all important for leaders, but maybe more so with everything that's going on right now. So let's start with business strategy. Most people would say strategy is about markets, competitors, capabilities. How does a compass-driven strategy differ?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics because I've watched the power of compass-driven strategies show up in real time with the leaders that we work with. So let me share a story that we've been working with the same CEO and his executive team for several years now. And we originally did an organizational compass workshop for them where they were transitioning from being a founder-led organization to being employee-owned, and they wanted to make sure that they were clear, honoring the founder, and make sure they were clear about what got them there, what made them successful, but also put their own stamp on it as a new leadership team was forming. So we did that for them. And then out of that, we also did some flourishing teams work with their executive team. And over the course of that work, as we were helping them to be more cohesive and to come together and become more of a higher performing executive team, we saw some real deep breakthroughs. Trust deepened, communication improved. The team started operating more authentically as individuals and as a unit. But coming out of that, we recognized something was missing. And while the CEO had aspirations for the company, and while each executive had their own annual departmental plans, what surprised us was that the team didn't have a consensus vision for their collective future. Their old vision statement that we had done with them through the original Compass workshop a few years earlier was too focused on successfully transitioning from the original owner and founder. And that was no small task. So that was their vision for the future, was to successfully transition from this fatherly figure that they had, who was very instrumental in their long-term success. They're in business for like over 30 years. And so what we realized was that they needed to update their vision for the entire organization to embrace a new vision that was theirs. They hadn't revisited that up to that point.
Yeah. So what did that strategy work actually look like?
Yeah, so we walked them through a pretty methodical process. The whole process was made possible because they already had most of the compass in place. And with that foundation, I believe you can't really do good strategy work. You're just thinking up something that's interesting or using your best guess of where you want to go, based on past history or track record or an immediate opportunity. And so the process had 5 steps. Number one, we'd redefined their vision. We asked, what do you want your organization to look like in the next several years? This included defining how much they wanted the company to grow, what services they would provide, what impact they would have in their community, which was a big part of their purpose. Second, we defined their strategic imperatives. And we defined a strategic, some would say these are critical success factors, but we call them strategic imperatives. These are the non-negotiable areas of focus that are required to bring that vision into reality. And so once we defined what those strategic imperatives were, we developed milestones across some critical areas of the business. And we use these milestones over the course of time to measure how much progress they're making towards that collective future, that defined future or vision that they created. And then fourth, we defined annual corporate goals. And that defines, well, how much of those milestones are we going to make progress on in the current year? And those annual goals align everyone in the near term, and they also inform how each department then contributes to that progress. And that then is the fifth thing that we did with them, is that we then worked with the executives, and they each then built annual departmental goals that roll up to and align with the corporate goals. And again, we could go into a lot more detail. That's kind of a standard strategic methodology, but here's what was so powerful about this process. The compass provided the future vision that they could all get behind and the boundaries of how they would pursue it. I told them what their future was that they were aiming at, and told them how they would and would not pursue it because it was aligned with their DNA, with their purpose, and with their values. And I think that's a big difference between compass-driven strategy and conventional strategy. Oftentimes, conventional strategy starts with the market and asks, well, what should we be chasing? Whereas compass-driven strategy starts with identity and focuses on the market that organization is uniquely designed to serve. And I think having done both ways, strategy work for companies, I think that's the difference between flailing and flourishing. And it doesn't mean that you don't always nail it, the other way, but oftentimes I've seen executive teams get offline, get off track, back to that, moon metaphor. And the teams I see operating without a compass, they become exhausted. But the ones that are operating with the compass, where the 4 questions are answered very clearly, they're aligned, they're energized, even when the work is really hard.
Yeah. Okay, so the second area, corporate branding and marketing. What have you seen? What happens when an organization with a clear compass does branding, whether that's for the first time, if that's a full rebrand, or there's maybe just some small updates?
Yeah, so in my experience, just about every time that we've done our 2-day Clarify Your Compass workshop, where we help executives answer these 4 questions, every time the marketing executives in the room, they get really excited. And the reason is simple. They recognize that the marketing messages become extremely powerful when they're aligned with the organization's compass, especially the DNA. Organizational DNA and identity is the basis for branding. I mean, this is a standard step that most, outside marketing firms or internal marketing departments will do, because that is your DNA, your identity. That's the most authentic, most differentiated thing you can say about who you are. And that authentic expression is what attracts customers that you're uniquely designed to serve. So when we go through the workshop and we give language to the organization's DNA, 2 things happen. So first, the marketing team walks out with a flood of new ideas, for the website, messaging, campaigns, storytelling, everything in the marketing area. And second, because this message is authentic to who they are, the sales and marketing teams get excited about carrying it into the marketplace. They aren't trying to be like the competition anymore. They don't fall into comparison with the competition. It's easy to copy features, to match pricing, to even imitate messaging. But the one thing your competition can't copy is your identity. And when that shows up in your branding and your marketing, the right customers feel it and they're drawn to you. And by the way, the wrong fit customers feel it too, and they self-select out. And that's actually a gift to your organization, because you don't waste time serving customers who may not fully value what you have to offer or fully value who you are.
Yeah, really, really interesting. I want to keep moving to the third area, the last area we'll talk about, but a very timely one, which is AI. And in some ways, I think AI has quickly become a corporate buzzword. It's talked about at every conference. It's part of a lot of people's organizational goals already. Everyone is feeling some effect of AI, whether that's personally or professionally. But we're really in a moment where every organization is racing to adopt AI and figuring out what that looks like in some form. So why would you say the compass especially critical right now for AI adoption?
Yeah, Joe, I'd argue that this is probably the single most important application of the compass, both right now and probably for the next 5 years. The world is shifting dramatically. We're moving from people-centered organizations to AI agent-centered organizations. And that's not science fiction. That's happening right now. And we're seeing agentic AI rolled out across every function, like strategy development, tactical decisions, customer service, delivery operations, marketing, HR, finance, you name it, everywhere. And here's the question that every leader needs to be asking. If AI agents are increasingly going to act on behalf of my organization, what context are they acting from? Most AI solutions start with tasks. Start with who starts with identity. Agents that only know tasks, they might be efficient, but pretty generic and likely indistinguishable from your competitors' agents. But agents with human context, and we would say the foundation organizationally for that human context is your compass and how you answer those 4 questions. Agents with that human context can support better leadership, better decisions, and better customer interactions. And that's why we describe our organizational compass as well as the personal compass as well. We believe that they provide a necessary human context layer for agentic work. And I would say the compass does 3 things for AI adoption. The first, the organizational compass preserves what makes your organization unique and what has made you successful to date. Second, your compass ensures a human-centered approach so that AI serves your people, not the other way around. And third, your compass aligns your organization, the humans and the agents and whatever that might look like, around what really matters to you and what you can't afford to lose through this AI transition journey. Companies racing to adopt AI without a compass are going to look back in 5 years and realize they've lost something irreplaceable: their identity, their voice, the things that made them special. They may not even know what they've lost because they haven't defined it. And I think we're going to see more organizations as they adopt AI having an identity crisis in the next 5 years, more than ever before. And that's why the organizational compass, in my opinion, is non-negotiable for AI adoption. It's not a nice to have, it's absolutely required.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much there. But I think that's in some ways a powerful place to land. I think there's some big ideas. It's a really good check, a good challenge. Beneath that sort of warning, I'm hearing again just how important it is to answer these 4 foundational questions for any organization and lead from that place. Rick, do you want to maybe tell people about what that could look like practically?
Yeah, I'd encourage those that are interested in learning more to visit our website, newtoninstitute.com. Check out the organizational compass video on our homepage. That'll help explain not only what that is, but how it can impact all of these areas that we've been talking about today. We also have a 2-day Clarify Your Compass workshop, again, referred to that helps leadership teams define or refine the answers to the questions around the compass. And finally, something that we've been doing more of recently is helping companies create an AI knowledge base that gathers all of the collective wisdom in your organization, whether it's documented or in people's heads. And that knowledge base then serves as the foundation for any AI integration that you do in your organization. And we make sure that your compass is embedded into that knowledge base to make sure that every AI task, every chat that your team does, every agent that you launch is aligned with your DNA, your purpose, your values, and your vision.
So as always, if you've found this episode helpful, please hit the like button, follow, subscribe, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And Rick, we'll talk next time in the next episode. Thanks for joining us today on the Start With Who podcast. If today's episode sparked a question, please drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Please take a moment to rate the show, follow us, and subscribe so you're notified when new episodes are released. And if you'd like to learn more, visit newtoninstitute.com to sign up for our newsletter and explore what's possible when you start with who. Thanks again for being part of this journey. We'll see you in the next episode.